And also some of this exploration is driven by ego and conquest. And, you know, the reason that the Navy is so interested in astronomy, right? Have you ever noticed this? There's like the Naval Observatory where the Vice President of the United States lives, right? Why is the Navy so interested in astronomy? Well, it's the stars on the sky that can tell ships where they are, right? If you've got a little, it's called a sextant, right? Or an octant. You can use that to determine your position on the Earth based on the position of the stars. And so if you've got accurate positions of the stars, you'll know where you are on a ship, even if you can't see any land. So that's one of the reasons the Navy really like to do astronomy. Now they got satellites and GPS, of course, but yeah. And then you get telescopes, like you get somebody like Galileo that looks up and sees that actually not everything's orbiting the sun or indeed the Earth, because they still didn't know that, you know, Earth was the center of the universe, or was the sun, right? Heliocentrism versus geocentrism, right? But you get a Galileo making observations, and he sees the moons of Jupiter, sees the rings of Saturn. He sees that Venus has phases, starts to, you know, put together with people like the Tycho Brahe and Johannes Kepler, a model of the universe that shows we're not the center of the universe. We're not, which was the understanding of the time from Aristotle. Aristotle had made the simple observation that, you know, ground is heavy, therefore it's sunk to the lowest point in the universe. Water is lighter than ground, so the water sits on top of the land. Air is lighter than water, so it sits on top of the water, and then space has got nothing in it. So there can't be any land anywhere else in the universe, because it all would have fallen to the surface of the Earth. Right? And so the Earth must be the center of the universe. That was the understanding. But then, you know, you start to look at the orbits, you start to look at the motion of the planets, and it's obvious, you know, some of the planets go backwards on the sky, retrograde motion, right? And you get the horoscope people freaking out. Doesn't do anything, by the way, obviously. You know, Mercury in retrograde happens every 56 days.
So what does that mean? Because I'm not entirely sure. I'm not even familiar with that term. What does that mean?
Yeah. So because we've got because we're on Earth going around the sun, right, and there are other planets going around the sun at different distances, right? Sometimes we catch up with a planet and overtake it, which means it looks like it actually goes backwards on the night sky.
Oh, I see.
They call that retrograde motion. So normally, right, Mars would go across the sky like this. Then occasionally it would do a loop on the sky because we overtake it on our orbit. Yeah, so that means that, of course, that the heavens aren't perfect, which was another thing that was thought of at the time, right? Heaven it must be perfect, right? And that stars are just the holes in the night sky, right? Well, now we know that stars are actually suns. They're all suns. And that's another result of the instrumentation development that we've done. When you get a really good telescope, you can actually break up the light from a star into a rainbow, essentially. And it's the same type of rainbow we've seen for our own sun. So then you start to know that when, you know, the sun is just a star. It's just a star. And you can see with the naked eye about 6,000 other stars. Right? And then you can start to see smudges on the sky as well. And you put a telescope at that and you see that there's these beautiful nebulae. And some of them turn out to be the factories of stars, these stellar nurseries where stars are being formed. And some of them turn out to be other galaxies entirely.